Pigweed here. Today we have a short show about the UN's resolution addressing the history of the slave trade. All right.
Hey, good evening, Pigweed. All right. How about some beer and conversation?
Very good, very good. What are we having?
So this is Dale's American Light Lager.
Oh, I like Dale's. I didn't know they made a light lager.
Yeah, it's only, what does it say, 95 calories.
Okay,
so, there you
sure.
go. All right. So what's on your mind?
Yeah, so the UN said, wait for it,
Okay.
slavery is bad.
Boy, that's a new thought.
Yes, no, it's not just bad, it's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
It is the gravest crime against humanity. And we come together in solemn solidarity to affirm truth and pursue a route for healing and reparative justice.
Okay, for all slavery.
Well, no. You misunderstood me.
Yeah, I did.
No.
There's all slavery.
There's a code out there that slavery, if you don't put any other adjectives on it,
right.
Slavery just means transatlantic slavery of white people by
black people by white people.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It doesn't refer to like the intra-African slave trade where Africans traded slaves among themselves.
No, because this resolution was spearheaded by Ghana, received 123 votes with the, let me see, the intra-African group. They got, 123 votes in favor.
Yeah.
52 abstentions.
Yeah. And
3 against.
Now Ghana, what didn't Ghana like hold on to slavery and the British had to like beat them out of it, right?
I mean, the fact that it's Ghana,
isn't that funny?
Is a lack of self-awareness.
Yeah.
I think it's like
because like a lot of African nations had slavery. Well, first of all, everybody had slavery until the Brits decided to try to stop it, and so every African nation had slavery. And Ghana was one of the key countries that had slavery.
Yes.
Yeah. And they had there was the transatlantic slave trade, but there was also the slave trade among African nations trading slaves back and forth.
Yes, and even bigger than both of those is the Arab-Muslim slave trade.
Yeah, and
which went on which is 3 times longer,
right?
And many millions more people involved.
And apparently the way most of that slave trade went was across the Sahara Desert. So you'd take 1,000 slaves and you'd march them across the Sahara Desert. 500 of them would die, but okay,
Yeah, price of business.
Still, get money from the 500.
Yes. Yeah. And from what I can tell, I mean, not that there's good slavery and bad slavery, but there's bad slavery and worse slavery.
Yes.
And you really had it worse if you were going to Arab nations. First off, you wonder why there aren't large black populations in the Middle East. Yeah, well, if they had so much slavery,
they brought in all these slaves, but the first thing they did was snip.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
So just in terms of like bad and worse slavery, there's one, and the types of work they would do, in the Americas or in the United States.
It was mostly labor.
They were expensive.
Yeah.
And, it was in your interest not to have them die.
Yeah.
Where over there, you just work them till they die and get a new one.
Right.
And so, so the slave trade by the Arabs was vast. It included, up to 1 million white European slaves. That were taken by raids.
The Arabs raided Ireland. They raided islands off of England. They raided the coasts, all the coasts on the Mediterranean.
France and Spain.
They raided American ships, and Thomas Jefferson said no more of that and sent the Marines over to kick their butt. Yeah. So
the shores of Tripoli.
Yes, right. I mean, obviously slavery is horrible, and good for the UN for saying that this is a bad thing. But why didn't they talk about these other kinds of slavery?
Well, I wonder why.
I wonder
why. First off, it's a fundamentally anti-Western organization. And so this is the way to stick it to the West. And that's where the money is.
Right.
It's just a shameless money grab.
Yes.
And
because it's not just this is a horrible thing. This is a horrible thing. We're putting our hand out. Please give me some money. Yeah. So if we're going to do reparations, like all the Slavic countries going to get reimbursed because Slav Slav relates to slave.
Yeah.
Those areas were heavily enslaved by the Muslims, by all kinds of people.
The Mongols,
everybody was enslaving the Slavs. So should we be paying reparations to the Slavs? Did they talk about that?
They absolutely did not talk about that, but they do have two pictures. This is on the UN website of a slavery memorial in Stone Town, Zanzibar, the United Republic of Tanzania.
Yeah.
Well, I can't guarantee you, but I'm thinking the number of slaves. Well, first off, there's a major transport for slaves. That's why the memorial is there. Mm-hmm. Millions of slaves passed through there. How many ended up on European ships going across the Atlantic?
Yeah, probably not any.
Probably zero. Yeah. Absolutely zero. So it's interesting that this is the art that they use on their own website.
People have this weird idea that like European and American slave ships went over to Africa, went running around, rounded up a bunch of peaceful Africans, stuck them on ships, and brought them over as slaves. Where what actually happened was they pulled into the port. The Europeans and the Americans really couldn't spend much time in Africa because they died of disease.
Right.
So they just bartered, traded with the other people who were selling the slaves. Yeah. They said, look, we can sell them across the Sahara to the Arabs, or we can sell them to you. So here you go. How much money?
And you're right here.
That's right. So here, buy them. And when the slave ships went over there, they were buying the slaves from people who had already captured a bunch and enslaved these people in Africa. So obviously it was a hideous, horrible thing, and I don't mean in any way to minimize that. But be honest, for heaven's sake.
Yes, I mean, if you're looking at the supply chain, if you take it back to the beginning, well, all of these slaves were enslaved by Africans.
Yeah.
And sold because, well, I don't know, they probably didn't have, they had some, raw materials.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of regions that was the
trade. There were a lot of nations in Africa that were built entirely on slavery.
Yeah.
That was how they made their money, was by selling slaves.
Okay, so you've got the 54-member African group, the 52 abstains. Isn't this classic Europe? Yeah, they didn't want to vote no.
Yeah.
So everybody in the European bloc just said, "Can I just say nothing?" What a spineless move. So all you had the United States, Israel, and Argentina were the only three to just straight up say no, and the United States said.
I think they said that there can't be a legal basis for reparations for something that was legal at the time.
Yes. Yes. The U.S. does not recognize a legal right to reparations for historical wrongs that were not illegal under the international law at the time occurred. So it wasn't just them taking the immoral stance of slavery is bad. Okay, great. You're right about that.
Yes.
It was, and how can we monetize this?
Yes. How can we suck more money out of Western countries and give it to African countries?
Right,
That's the idea.
Right. To give it to third world leaders to enrich themselves and squander the money.
To countries that kept slavery legal for like hundreds of years after we stopped it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it doesn't. Once again, the UN doesn't impress me very much. It's not positively impressed me very much. Anyway.
No, it's part of really. So Marxism as an economic system, I think we've all seen its failure and how awful it is. But the Marxist worldview, which says success can only come from oppression and exploitation.
Yeah.
Right. So if you see somebody, and so you look around the world, you realize most of the wealthy countries are European and the Anglosphere.
Right.
They must have gotten it in ill-gotten ways.
Yes.
So therefore, you need to give us something.
Yeah. Yeah. The only explanation for rich and poor is that the rich were giving it to the poor.
Yeah.
I mean, they were oppressing the poor.
Yeah.
And that's completely wrong. And I mean, obviously there are times when that's true, when the people are oppressing people, and that's why they're poor. Certainly that happens, but that's not the only explanation.
To diminish all, it's because I'm unwilling to say anything positive about the person who's wealthy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to reduce it to they're just evil. Maybe they're smarter. They work harder.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe they're more
Just have natural talents, whatever it is. You know,
more creative, more, you know, work harder.
Somehow that doesn't apply to basketball players who make millions of dollars, or baseball players who make millions of dollars. I don't understand that. So anyway, the UN once again proves itself to be a useless organization that puts out politically correct pablum to make themselves feel better.
And it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Can I offer up 3 resolutions?
Okay.
The first one is to thank Great Britain for all of the spending the toil and treasure and the lives and the blood to end global slavery. They might still be around if it wasn't for them.
Yes, they fought for a long time to end the Atlantic slave trade.
While they were fighting the French.
Yes, yes.
They ended up, the amount of money...
It was a moral crusade for the British to do this,
Yes. So thank you, Great Britain. Mm-hmm. Second, I think we need to condemn Mexico for the murder and human sacrifice of millions.
Yes, I think that's true.
By the Aztecs.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when they look to their heritage, we look to Great Britain as, you know, we fought a war with them.
Yeah.
But we still looked at them as the, you know, like the motherland.
Yeah.
You know, they gave us our foundation.
Yeah.
The Mexicans don't look to Spain like that. The country that gave you your religion and your language and your modernization.
Yes.
You like to wrap yourself around your Aztec past. When you're selling trinkets and T-shirts, beach towels, currency, wall hangings.
Yeah.
It's.
I've got an idea. You know, we're going to be going to Mexico in a little bit.
Yes.
I'm thinking I want to get like a pretend heart covered in pretend blood.
Yeah.
And like go up to a place where they're selling trinkets and like offer them that as an exchange for.
As an exchange.
As an exchange.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Oh, I mean, they're all about the Aztec past. I mean, there were festivals when their sacrifices would take place in the thousands over a couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
Okay, so
that's resolution number 2.
That's the second most murderous empire. So the people that died from straight up murder.
Yeah.
Mexico's number 2, and number 1, we'd like to address the Mongolians.
Okay. Yes.
Because they're number 1.
Yes, they killed so many people.
They killed 10% of the entire world's population, and in specific cases like Persia, it was like 75%.
Yeah.
So I would think. So the next time you fly into the capital of Mongolia, you'll notice that you're at Genghis Khan Airport. With a gigantic statue out front. If there's ever been a statue that needs to be pulled down,
there you go.
It's that one. And how about the shame on all the Mongolians? Do you think that?
I don't think they have any shame. I think they're very proud of it, especially since most of them are his descendants.
Yeah, they are.
Right. No, and I got to add a 4th resolution.
Okay, another resolution.
Condemning Islam for continuing to provide so-called moral religious support for slavery and conquest.
Yes, it's completely consistent with Islam.
That was how Islam was promoted. It's like, okay, you come be a soldier in the Islamic army, and you can keep anybody. You know, you go and you slaughter people, you take their money.
Any non-Muslim.
If you take any non-Muslim, you can take as a slave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really, in the end, they never sort of came to terms with ending slavery. It was just like, I don't know, Europeans are really down on this, and it's kind of...
I guess we better do it. at least for now, until we take over, and then we'll bring it back. Yeah.
Yes, there was... It didn't even get officially on the books in Mauritania and Africa, in Western Africa.
Yeah, till like 1980 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And then they're going, with lax enforcement.
So, UN.
Anyway, UN.
You stink.
You stink. Get out of New York.
Cheers. Thanks so much for listening. Be sure to like this video and share it with your friends.
Blue suit in the sunshine.